Hey people on YouTube, this is Steven again, and I'm back to do another album review. I haven't done one since I believe the Kansas review, Freaks of Nature. And the type of reviews I like to do most of are obscured albums by artists who may be well known, but the album's either very underrated or very obscured and you don't really hear a lot of talk about it. And this is probably going to be so far the most obscured album I've reviewed yet. This is a album that comes from the mid-70s by a man who is a well-known lyricist, and he is best known for writing the lyrics for the first period of King Crimson. He wrote the lyrics for the first 4 albums. And then after that he had got sacked from King Crimson and went on to write for ELP. And after ELP, after brain salad surgery actually I should say, he decided to make an attempt at a solo album. He made his first solo album, and the man's name is Peter Sinfield. And the album that he recorded and wrote in 1973 is called Still. And I wanted to do this album. I wanted to review it just to see, I thought it'd be fun and see if I could get some kind of reaction from Crim heads out there on YouTube, because I am a huge King Crimson fan. And there's some really cool prog reviewers on YouTube that I really like. Darren Locke is one that does primers and album reviews. He usually only does album reviews if there's like a remastered version of a classic album or a brand new album by a progressive rock band. Like I know he did Marillion's brand new album, Sounds That Can't Be Made, and he also, I believe, did Clockwork Angels. And I remember seeing he did Yeses Fly From Here last year. So this is an album that I really had to listen to a good amount to try to give a album review for it. I'll tell you, when I first heard it a long time ago, I previewed it, and I really didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. But I decided to check it out again, so I obtained a copy of it. And the album itself has 11 songs. No, I'm sorry, 9 songs. There is a remastered version which has 2 bonus songs, which I have not heard. But the actual album itself has 9 songs. And it starts off with the Song of the Sea Goat. That is song number 1. The Song of the Sea Goat starts off real quiet with, you hear seagulls chirping, flying, and then it's a real mellow piece, and has piano and mellotron and some flute in it. And there's a little bit of bass in it, but the bass is hardly audible. And it has Pete Sinfield singing the songs, the lyrics that he wrote. And after listening to this, I wanted to figure out the Song of the Sea Goat. What the heck is a sea goat? What exactly is he talking about? So there's a really great tribute site to Peter Sinfield called songsouponSea.com, and found, I believe, every Peter Sinfield lyric that was written with the groups, with Crimson, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and his solo album Still, and maybe some stuff beyond that. And I looked at the lyrics of this, and they are just really bizarre. And I know that he's always been kind of bizarre, but this is like a mythology type song. But it's all about, I'll just read some of the lyrics to you. It starts off with the sea goat casts Aquarian runes through the beads of mirrored tears. Suave pirates, words of apricot crawl out of your veneer. Anoint your eyes with mightiest oil and make it still appear. Aladdin's lamp is glowing bright, transmuting panacea to fill your souls with sugared holes. Oh, can't you hear, sang the sea-goat, the nonsense makes me numb. It's near, it's clear, sang the sea-goat, we live to overcome. The madman's voice and his no-word choice, the pain that drains like an endless day of rain. I have no idea what the heck he's talking about. What he was reading at the time or what he was taking at the time to write this, I'm lost in these lyrics. But as far as the song goes, it's a very nice opener. It's mellow, and another thing I need to comment on is some of the King Crimson alumni are on this. You've got Mel Collins, who's doing the flute, and John Wetton plays bass on this album, on some parts of this album. And who else was on this album from? Keith Tippett plays on here, who had played with Crimson on Wake of the Poseidon. And there were some other ones on here, I believe. Somebody else from King Crimson. I looked that up real quick. But I know those three definitely were on that album. And so it starts off with the Song of the Sea-Goat. Being a real... There's no drums on it. So it's just real mellow, a lot of mellotron on it. And the flute. Mel Collins plays... has a signature flute playing. I have to say, this actually opens up with a pretty nice, inviting opener. It's... this is actually one of the strong songs on the album itself. This is a good opener, real mellow, and you could really go to sleep to this song or just relax to it, really. And then after that, the song number 2 is Under the Sky, which is another one with a flute and some piano and. Oh, Ian Wallace is also on this. Okay, yeah, Ian Wallace, who's played drums on Islands. And Greg Lake. Oh, I can't believe I forgot Greg Lake. Boz Burrell. Okay, I had to look it up here for a second. Boz Burrell. Yeah, there's quite a few people, but if you're curious, no, Robert Fripp does not play on this. I'm pretty sure that Robert Fripp and Peter Sinfield never really spoke to each other after his sacking, because Fripp was known for firing a lot of people. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But Under the Sky, as I was talking about, then got kind of thrown off directions. It's got flute and some piano, and it's another kind of mellower one, but it's a little more upbeat than Song of the Sea-Goat. And the vocals are pretty interesting, the way they sound. They're kind of echoey. I really like the echoey sound. It's actually another good one I like. It's a pretty good flow, I think, from Song of the Sea-Goat to Under the Sky. I really like how that flows. Then we get to the third song, and then the album kind of gets rocky a little bit. It's a song called Will It Be You, which is a very kind of country, kind of folk twang song. And to be honest with you, this reminds me a lot of a John Denver song. And I'm not really a big John Denver fan or anything, but this is actually a pretty cool song. I really like it. The only thing is, it's very different, and it's not what you would expect from the rest of the album. It just goes off into that. But it's Will It Be You is very acoustic. It's like, I believe, some slide guitar on there, and Pete Sinfield's vocal. And so that's Will It Be You. That's the third song on the album. Number 4 is Whole Food Boogie. Now this one, I really don't care for this song too much. This is very much like a Flash type glam rock song, it reminds me of David Bowie from like the time being. I mean, this album came out in '73, and this sounds like the stuff Bowie was doing in '73 to '74. And I really was just never into that glam rock scene. It's just I just never liked David Bowie or T-Rex, whatever. I just was never into glam. But that's what this song reminds me of, is Whole Food Boogie. It's very much like a glam Bowie-esque type song. Don't really care for this one too much. And then in the middle of the album we go on to the title song, which is Still. This one's real slow. Starts off real slow and very quiet. You know, and you can hear Pete Sinfield's singing over this, and then it goes into like a time signature change where it goes into a different area, and then he's singing more. Then all of a sudden Greg Lake comes in and starts singing this part of the section, and Greg Lake sounds amazing on this song. But this is actually this one took a little bit to grow on me, but it's actually one I quite enjoy. I really do like this one quite a bit. Envelopes of Yesterday is okay. This one didn't really stick with me, so I'm not really... This one was just kind of there. This one I didn't really have a lot of strong feelings about this one. It was kind of hard to explain. After that is the very almost 3-minute song, The Piper, which is... starts off with, I believe, piano and flute. There's flute in this, and it's real short, it's real mellow, and this one's also another filler song that doesn't do much. It's okay. It's not terrible. But it's okay. A House of Hopes and Dreams. This one's actually kind of nice. This one reminds me, actually, not just the title, but the song itself reminds me of A House with No Door by Van de Graaff Generator from their HJU I'm the Only One album. It sounds kind of like that, like the tempo of the song and the mood of the song. A House of Hopes and Dreams is it's actually quite a nice song. I like this one a little bit. And then the album ends with The Night People, which is the kind of, if this was to have a prog epic, it's only clocks in at 7 minutes and 54 seconds. This would be like the epic. It starts off real slow, and then it gets into like a funky kind of jazz type feel to it. Like the drums are real funky, and there's like trumpets, and is there a sax on here or whatever? I don't know, but this one doesn't really. It just is all over the place. This one just kind of sounds like a mess for me. I don't really care for The Night People, but that was that is Peter Sinfield's first, and so far and probably always will be, his only solo album still. How do I feel about it? Would I recommend this? Well, most Crim heads who have probably come across this video have already heard this album, and from what I've heard, this album really gets a lot of mixed reviews. Some people really don't like this album, and like I said earlier, sometime back when I first heard it, I absolutely hated it. Some fans are a little more open to it. What I would have to say, I think this is actually a decent first effort, but if you're expecting King Crimson, it's not really King Crimson. The only real similarities I would say with King Crimson are, of course, the lyrics are kind of in the same vein, but you do have Mel Collins, who does a lot of is responsible for a lot of the flute playing and the sax. And Mel Collins is always one of my favorite musicians, and he always had that signature sound to his playing. So you do kind of have like the kind of Islands Lizard kind of flute, saxophone stylings, but this doesn't really sound like those albums per se. I definitely say it's worth checking out. Especially the Song of the Sea Goat. That's one that like I said, I really like. I enjoy this one quite a bit. It's a great opener. It's so mellow and it's so relaxing. The lyrics are very, very out there. So to grade this, it's time to give it a grade. And I think, for a fair grade, I actually think that I would give this a solid B. I would give this album a B. It's actually an interesting album. It's not one that you're going to want to rock out to, or it's not one that you're probably going to want to have on a desert island with only 10 albums. But when you're in the right state of mind for it, you can go back and listen to it. And if you're in like a relaxing mood, I mean, there's certain pieces on here that are very nice and relaxing. But yeah, Peter Sinfield, still, it gets a B. I will give it a solid B. And hope that's informative enough for you Crim heads out there, or for just music fans in general. Some of you people who are watching this probably have no idea who the heck Peter Sinfield is. But he's a lyricist and has actually gone on after King Crimson and Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and this album went on to write for other people, surprisingly enough, such as Celine Dion and Cher and Cliff Richard, Leo Sayer, the big kind of poppy, or not, I should say kind of, they're very pop mainstream, sugar-coated artists. So that's, yeah, there you go. That's Peter Sinfield, still, it gets a B. And hope you enjoyed this video. And this is the start. This is actually a first video in a series that I'm going to be doing. Well, this is like the precursor to a quadrology. After this video, I'm going to be doing a King Crimson quadrology video, meaning I am going to review the first 4 King Crimson albums with Pete Sinfield as the lyricist of the band, starting within the Court of the Crimson King. So the next video that you will see me upload will be in the Court of the Crimson King, and I will be going back to kind of rediscover and re-research all 4 of those albums and just give them a good listen so I can give a thorough review. So be on the lookout for that. The next thing coming up is the King Crimson quadrology. In the Court of the Crimson King up through Islands. That's going to be my next project. So be on the lookout for that. And all you progressive rock fans and whoever else is watching this, thanks for watching the video. And as the great Darren Locke would say, prog on.